It's only teenage wasteland. For real though, if you're tuned into this broadcast, you are the resistance. My name is Bryan. You're in my world. Really, I just podcast to express my multiple personality disorder. But for real, I try my best to have a fun, crazy, wild, interesting life and turn it into a production. I'm gonna work hard, have fun, go with the flow. Life's about the journey, not the destination type of guy. I'm unfiltered, uncensored, unhinged, and keep it outside the box. I've learned from my past mistakes, and I'm full of spiritual wisdom and out of pocket comments. You just never know what you're gonna get. Life is like a box full of chocolates, and some of them aren't very good. Life is. Some of these quotes, brother, we gotta start having to talk about some of these quotes. You get a box of chocolates and it's pretty good no matter what, right? Like, dude, the Life chocolate box, you're gonna bite into that chocolate, it's gonna be shit. You're gonna get shit on your face. You're gonna have poo poo on you. But you know what? 'Twas is what it is. The other one is you gotta break some eggs to make an omelet. There's really not many things you do with an egg that doesn't involve breaking it. Like, why is it just an omelet? Oh, you gotta break some eggs to make an omelet. You gotta break eggs to make any type of egg. Scrambled, over easy, eggs Benedict. Whew. Eggs Benedict. Damn. That's wild, bro. That shit, that's deep right there. You want to start talking deep? We can start talking about eggs Benedict. The next level. Just a poached egg. What even is that? Poached egg? It's like a blood diamond, dude. Somebody had to die to get that egg. It just gets poached on your English muffin. Amazing. So many things in life that we can just be like, amazing. But we get lost in the poop, like I said, with the chocolates. You get lost in that. And if you got a box of chocolates and you ate one of them and it was poop, you'd brush your teeth and you'd move on from it. You know, everybody gets into a little bit of scat sometimes. It's no big deal. You know, who's into piss stuff, who's into not piss stuff, it's none of your business. Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? But no, I have some things to talk about. I'm a podcaster, you guys. I like doing live streams, but I don't have internet right now. I don't even have data on my phone at this point in time. I still got 5 more days with no data. Life is it's good though. It's like a fun retreat. I haven't had internet for 2 months, 3 months. Waiting for the tap tap just for once. Just want to play one game of Call of Duty. Forget getting laid, dude. You guys have it real good. But no, I'm the king of Babylon. That's the thing about it. Is there are people that envy how I operate. That's why I'm on here making a freaking show about it. But let's talk first about what it feels like to have a spiritual awakening. Some signs that you are having a spiritual awakening. 1, you will always look at the positive side of things first. And this can be to your own detriment sometimes. If you're always looking at the positive side, but you're going to do it anyways. You're going to do it anyways. And we always have that button. I talk about it all the time. We'll talk about it more in the show. But you always have the option to take the positive road. It's always on the board. It's always a chess move. It can be harder, though. A lot of things it's easier to feel negative about. It's easier and weaker to just be negative and be in that negative state, it's actually harder to drag yourself out. But at the same time, an emotion really only lasts 90 seconds unless you feed it. If you just clear your mind and let it sit, your body will like relinquish the agony. But you can get caught up with stuff, man. I'm still kind of butthurt over a woman. I had a death in the family. My life circumstances got screwed over by a 1099 sales job that lied to me and never ended up giving me a single paycheck. So, yeah, you know, there's a lot of things right now that I could be negative, and I've been negative, and it's been hard. But you know what? I still look at the positive things positive side of things first. The death in the family one, that's just that's not gonna get, you know what I'm saying? I can't spin that positively. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. It's sad and horrible. But you know, with the girl, I can be like, I'm happy that I found someone that I felt like was irreplaceable, because I didn't think that was even possible. So someone can make me feel that way, and yay, maybe someone will come along. And I don't even know. I don't care about any of that shit. But, or with the job, it was a fun little sales camp. My sales skills got better with that job, even though I never got paid. It was an internship. But you know what? You learn. And I take the things that I learned there and I spread it around to the other parts of the world that can actually compensate me and nurture my positive energy. Moving on the list of what it feels like to have a spiritual awakening. You won't fear your death or your own mortality. Like, you won't fear death. You'll make peace. Now, that's pretty hard, man. But, you know, people talk about it. It's pretty doable. I guess there's always going to be, I mean, for most people, you want to be alive. So that feeling of extreme wanting to be alive and wanting to do stuff with your life kind of makes you fear death. But at the same time, you can overcome that. It can be, you know, your own mortality doesn't have to be something that concerns you. Fear of death is fear of life. The shackles that bound you. Number 3, you won't fear loss or failure. Losing something, losing someone, failing at something. You're not going to be real worried about it. You can let it rip a little bit. But let go of your pearls, man. There's a lot of pearls we clutch. You just got to let go of them. Number 4. Historic stories will feel like memories. If you're having a spiritual awakening and you become in tune with the ancestral energy and vibes, man, you might hear a story from history. And history is really just his story. I think things should be taken with a grain of salt. His story. Are you going to believe in history or his story? What about his story? This other guy, he had a story too. His story, you know? You'll get compliments. People will compliment you on a lot of things. And I really do think that is a sign of spiritual awakening. You can have all the drip or swag in all the world, and you might catch some compliments. But it will feel like it's happening a lot. The spiritual awakening in your vibe and energy, when it improves, you're just going to have an attractive vibe, and people will just blurt it out. Number 6, you won't feel a need for validation or care what others think about you. Yeah, there's a lot of ways I live my life that is pretty obvious. that I don't really care what other people think about me, but I'm definitely a net positive. I think that some people could find me annoying, but if you're going to be the rock star and be him, there's always going to be people that think you're annoying. And there's going to be people that cringe. I really think cringing at stuff is an insecurity. I used to cringe at stuff like, dude, TikTok dances. I used to cringe at TikTok dances. Now I'm like, well, there's a few songs that I want to do a TikTok dance to. Fuck. I'm feeling it. You know? A lot of stuff like that. A lot of stuff that would have made me cringe or elicit a negative comment from me or me dogging on something, I actually like and enjoy and think and appreciate. Even if it's different from my mindset, I'm able to appreciate these things. Number 7 on what it feels like to have a spiritual awakening. Romance and intimacy no longer necessary at all. Me personally, I'm almost kind of waiting for someone to come around, even though I was kind of the one that ducked out and I said a bunch of crazy stuff. And I'm just kind of still waiting, dude. I don't know. I don't think they're coming around, but that kind of stuff will happen when you have a spiritual awakening. You'll see somebody and you'll really like them, and you don't just go out there and seek out romance and intimacy to fill the gap. I can't just fill the gap with this human left. Like, it would just be sickening to my stomach if I went out there to try to sleep with somebody just to wipe them off my mind. I gotta let my feelings burn. But yeah, it's not really necessary. It can be fun and entertaining. But that, like, oh, I haven't been laid in this long, or I haven't talked to a girl, blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't really pop up, man. And I guess I've had some good at-bats and some good opportunities. So maybe I'm a little validated, but even if I didn't, I would, it just, again, I'll let my heart grow and flow, and I'm open to all that. And I shoot my shot here and there if it seems fun or if it seems like necessary. You feel me? Like, sometimes it's like, all right, this person, this. I haven't talked to them yet, but I could just see it the way they walk. A spiritual energy that pulls you into somebody. There you go. Now we're talking. You'll let your gut feeling run romance and intimacy. You won't just be logically darting around pestering women to find one to talk to. You'll just be growing with the flow. It's not a big deal. Number 8, you can feel others' emotions stronger than your own. Not all the time, but yeah, empathy. Wanting to do right by other people, wanting other people to not suffer and not be sad. A lot of the things I do benefit someone else or provide a value to someone else. I'm a very empathetic person, and that's definitely increased since having a spiritual awakening. Number 9, people will say you look familiar or even ask if you're someone famous. Like, random strangers approaching you, it will increase because your vibe and energy is going to be high up in the sky. And then the last one I have here, you won't hold resentment against past romantic partners or people that have wronged you. I don't know. Sometimes people screw you over and there's just really no way to logically be like, yeah, I'm going to let you have a pass. It's just too illogical. You just got screwed and you're in a bad spot because of these people. But then there's other ones where things just didn't work out with them and you just won't really hold much resentment, not really care. But yeah, and that word resentment, like disliking, hating someone that you were once entangled with, it's not a good thing to be holding around, because if you're not even talking to them or seeing them anymore, or might not see them ever again, then why would you even think about them? I mean, you could, positive stuff, yeah, sure. All right. Teenage wasteland, you know. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep hammering it down. Think about the time we waste on social media and how many better things there are for you. Texting friends, writing, reading, doing a hobby, walk in nature. There's so many more holistic, benefiting, uh, spiritual, just better ways of spending your time. Social media increases time dilation. The rate on which you experience time, your perception of how fast time is moving, dude, that shit goes wild on social media. You catch yourself scrolling for an hour. I used to be there, man. It's crazy. But there's so many different things you can do. But we're conditioned to just scroll on these damn phones. You guys ever get tripped out when you see an airplane? Sometimes little things I just think about. Like, how crazy is it that that big hunk of metal can fly through the air just powered by those engines? They're really not that big. They're just, big turbine engines. But I mean, it's a lighter metal, it's aluminum, but that's still a heavy piece of machinery to see it soaring through the air with the wings, and really just like what, they moved up a little flap and that's what got it up. Like, there's a lot of sketchy things, it seems like. One little thing goes wrong on that bitch and it might go down. And I live by an airport, so I see them all the time. Just by being outside or driving, I see an airplane almost every day. And I admire and acknowledge it. And sometimes it don't really look like it's going that fast. Really up there it's hauling ass. But sometimes it kind of looks like it's just hovering. Like, how's that thing not just falling out of the sky? There's a conspiracy that those turbine engines, the big things you see on the wings to propel the plane, that those are like 5 times more powerful on the down low. Secretly, they only use like 1/5 of the power, and those things can like get jacked up, and you can fly from like LA to New York in an hour or something ridiculous. But it's only used for them, the shadow government, and their doings. The stuff you don't even hear about in the news, man. We're not talking about no Epstein or no Diddy. We're talking about what's really happening. Goes deeper. But yeah, dude, imagine how exciting it would have been to be the Wright brothers and but have the breakthrough model that gets in the air and you can actually travel with, and it's somewhat dependable. Amelia Earhart, she was actually like the world's worst pilot. Like, didn't even make it to the ocean. She crashed that thing. She was doing a Catch Me If You Can, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he fakes his way into all sorts of shit. He's like a pilot, a doctor, a lawyer, just faking it. That was Amelia Earhart. She just like talked her way in to the opportunity to be the first woman to fly across the Atlantic. No, I think she did. She made it, right? I thought she was the one that crashed out, like they never found her. She just didn't even... They found her like drinking a beer under a tree, and the planes all crashed. It's like bleeding. Oh. But that'd be crazy. Imagine being the first person, like, hey, we don't know if this plane thing's actually going to withstand the weather and stuff out there. I assume those planes flew high enough. Because there's no way that little plane would survive. See, that's where history comes into play. His story. Amelia Earhart might not even existed. You don't know. Do you know her? Do you know anybody that knows her? No, you don't. You just see her in his story. She's a character in his story. But for real though, think of how wild that would be. Sitting in that plane about to take off and they haven't really flown. No one's flown over the Atlantic. Maybe one dude. Sounds fun. Trying to get off out here. You either die or go down in history. No, you either way, even if you don't make it, they're gonna be like, yeah, the first person that tried it, they didn't make it, but she was brave. Yeah, speaking a little bit about conspiracies, I do hear the conspiracy people talking about a mass awakening. And this is, that thought's been around for a while, but it seems to be ramped up a little bit. And yes, again, some event that they've talked about, some event happening. There's always someone talking about some event that something major is going to happen. Everybody's always calling the shots so that when something major happens, they can be like, I called it. If you, it's like me in my old shows, like the conspiracies, something's coming, something's coming. Yeah, if you say that every day, eventually you're going to be right because there's going to be some news story. But I've seen stuff where they're saying this mass awakening in some event where everyone who doesn't evolve and fit into the new vibrations will be left behind. Like, it sounds weird. It sounds like some cult, Jonestown, drink the Kool-Aid with the cyanide. It sounds like, I don't, like genocide or something. It's weird if you really think about it. What do you mean, like a mass awakening? You're gonna be left behind. It is some crazy talk, and it's like the biblical conspiracy people. It is cult folk. Look, don't get me wrong. It'd be badass if the Holy Spirit came down and some wild shit started popping off. But that it's coming vibe has been around forever in its manipulation. It's an emotional pull to captivate audiences. If you're a content creator and you're a face and a voice that has an audience, if you want to captivate your audience, keep them coming back, you gotta have an emotional pull. And it's pretty cheap talk. It's pretty cheap and easy to just use what is circulating in the communities. I could do it, man. I was doing it. I was one of those conspiracy truthers. It was always saying something's coming, something's coming. They do it with doomsdays and all sorts of stuff. Y2K, the Mayan calendar, climate change, running out of oil. And you go back in history, there's always been that sentiment, and there's always been stuff like that. Many, many groups of religious people just spouting prophecies that never come true. How many different religions are there throughout history? How many people have had prophecies? And the proof's in the pudding, because, I don't know. There are, if you get really biblical and you go with that end time stuff and events throughout history, awakenings, like industrial revolution, and certain things, you can spin it and kind of do some correlations where it's like, okay, it's a decent argument. But the whole thing with prophecies is there's so many people always spouting off or predicting that something is coming. So many different groups of people in so many different ways, whether it be political, religious, sports, everything. Everybody's always professing this is coming, this is coming. It's just a concept. It's just human nature that we want to predict things. And sometimes we see patterns and our pattern recognition box is going crazy and, correlations. But the fact that that idea exists, that we get in that mindset that something is coming, and the fact that, hey, in this world, like, big events and changes happen all the time. So you're just always going to have those correlations. I don't believe in coincidences, but you just have to look at the percentages of the average prophecy coming true. And it's just not a very good number. It's not a number I feel like I could get behind. And again, how often is this stuff used by content creators who are making money off of this? And the more people they have listening, the more money they make. And the more that they use these emotional pull tactics, the more that those people are going to stick around. It's like Alex Jones' InfoWars. He's gotten a lot of things right, but he's always calling, he's like the boy who cried wolf. He's always calling something's going to happen. Now, something always does happen. And some things he's said, hey, this, and this is going to happen, and it does happen. If somebody's being specific with stuff, and they have a track record of being specific and correct on stuff, then I'll listen to him. Jones isn't bad, honestly. But at a certain point, he became an entertainer and not a truther. He's not the conspiracy guy anymore. He's more of like a comedic character. Although he still does perform he's not like, you see him on podcast acting stupid and stuff and drinking with his shirt off. But really, day in, day out, he does his show in the similar format that he's always done it. Over the years, it's just panders to the right wing a little bit more. And again, you look at people giving you look at these content creators and these people that have a stage on a long enough period of time, you're just gonna have grabble stuff. You're gonna have a shift and an evolution to get more viewers because you get more money. And sometimes, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. People got bills to pay. Some of these dudes, they got bills to pay that they're using YouTube money and TikTok money to pay them bills. So yeah, of course you're going to have people spouting doomsday stuff. You got to pay your bills, right? I don't know. I see myself as a pure creator and entertainer. In these modern times, you have the ability to reach audiences without really doing jack shit. You know what I mean? This is very easy. I'm technologically savvy. It's very easy for me to put this together. My mind is moving all the time, so it's easy to come up with stuff to say. I'm just having fun. But maybe there'll come a time and a place where I'm making money from this and I got bills to pay and I'm going to start spouting out about how doomsday is coming. The Project Bluebeam, they could have like a Jesus come down from heaven thing with Project Bluebeam. Holograms. They can make holograms and shit. And it looks real, dude. Augmented reality. They can put things that aren't actually there and they look real. They had the hologram Michael Jackson. That was just to make you think that they weren't that good at holograms. They're good at holograms, dude. I think there's a chance that if you were to walk in a crowded city, is some of the people you see aren't real. That lady on the airplane who was saying that dude's not real, she's seen one. She's seen it, bro. It was Project Bluebeam. It was probably a projection of a fake person. Again, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, dude. There's some stuff and some people in my life that I've been around that has me questioning if they're real or if I'm real, or if like things around me is just all set up for Bryan's world and everything else is just a robot in a matrix and I'm the only real thing. And the only thing that exists is what pops into my visual field, but everything that pops into my visual field is created by a matrix, and that matrix goal is to make me feel like, nah, that's real, bro. Hey, I'm on Truman's show right now. I figured it out. Show's over. We're done. We're done. I'm not doing this anymore. We're done. We're done. Pull me out, bro. Pull me out. I'm like, it's like 60 days in, dude. The jail show. Pull me out. I gotta get out. I gotta do the hand thing. I think AI powered humanoids are more true. I also think that biologically, if you wanted to completely mind control a human and treat a human like a robot, and you have human assets, think of, the Epstein stuff is just a door opening to human assets. For the most part, we think of human assets like trafficking. Going back farther, we had slavery, where people were treated like assets and machines. They weren't treated like humans, which is horribly wrong, but still goes on in today's world. And right now, they have everybody thinking that the main thing there is just sex trafficking, which it goes deeper. With MK Ultra and other stuff, it goes a lot deeper than, some grimy dudes trying to make money by kidnapping women or forcing or manipulating them. Yeah, it goes way deeper. I mean, we're talking government programs. We're talking about people that have done shootings and these big events, like the Las Vegas shooter, the dude who did Oklahoma City bombings. That guy was heavily tied to the MK Ultra program. A lot of it, if you've been around here on the internet, if you're an adult at this point, a lot of you know about this stuff and have seen the evidence for this stuff. You already know it's just what it is. And you're not really even that worried. You just know that they're amongst us. But yeah, we can talk about shapeshifters, holograms, and robot people, like synthetic humanoids that are actually robots. If you open them up, they're not real humans. You can talk about those things, but they're not needed. If you want to control a human, you can brainwash them and make them controllable, make them play a role. We already that's what society is. We live in a giant pyramid scheme anyways. We have free will, but what I'm saying is that everyone can see how a human can be manipulated, especially if you have your hands on like a child and the government, let's say, has a child and they can train this child and brainwash this child to grow into something and use them as an asset to carry out their operations. So the kind of people that come up in the MK Ultra and those types of people are the Trump shooter, any of those big shootings really. terrorist attacks, could some people in the media and in our government that you see that's a face kind of be one of them people that's being controlled and their life was scripted a certain way for them to play that role? Yeah. But through the use of the frequency attack, and what they really know about the human brain, they have the brain chip. They know more than you think. If we're seeing like a year ago, they got the brain chip thing to work in a paralyzed dude. Dude, that thing's ready. It's 10 years ahead. They're always 10 years ahead. Some people say even longer, but the powers that be, military technology, and some of that's common sense. I know that sounds like conspiracy, like they're 10 years ahead, they have things you don't know about. But it's literally a competitive advantage. We live in a capitalist society. It's a competitive advantage to be ahead. To secretly be ahead on technology, yeah, there's a race for that going on. It's money involved. And then you start thinking about things like lobbying and also the government having ability to print money and produce fake money and just give it to corporations under the books. Dark pool transactions in the stock market. So many shady things for them to play in this little playground. But going off that, I haven't really given my thoughts on P. Diddy, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to explain why that I don't get into those types of mainstream topics. I wouldn't even bother too much with the Epstein stuff. They're getting y'all. The conspiracy community and the truther community, y'all are being cucked right now with this Epstein and the Diddy stuff. Anybody producing content on that's just a yapper and someone trying to get in the algorithm. Any real truth or conspiracy person, you can see through that, and you just spiritually just can't waste energy or too much thought, because you can just see through these Diddy and Epstein things and see what they really are. And there's no need to dig into stuff or have the evidence is coming out, the Epstein files. It's like, some of this stuff, Alex Jones of InfoWars was talking about for a while. Like 10 years ago, dude. He was talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Watch out for this guy. He says something big was going to happen with him at some point. But yeah, getting into whether Epstein did what, or the trial, or did he hang himself, it's all a distraction. And Diddy, everything that Diddy's being accused of, everything, the dirty business in that industry, it didn't stop. All this stuff is layered so deep. Epstein's clients are still running things. He's in trouble, but what about all the people on his list? Nothing? Okay. And it's these shadow officials, really. Not even Epstein's clients aren't running things. They're really just the puppeteers. Dude, they make you think those people are up to shadowy things, which they are. That's part of their brainwashing and how things work in those high up elite hierarchy rings of people. But who's really pulling the strings? It's not George fucking Soros or Bill Gates. It's shadow officials, my friend. You never see or hear these people, and they're the ones pulling the strings. Dude, they have high level shit. The CERN particle colliders are really just the beginning to a massive rabbit hole of the kind of machineries that they have to break reality, dude. Throughout history, dark forces have used evil spirits and the dark side of magic and the evil that is here and the hell. They've used that throughout time to manipulate and control people. And if you know anything about history, you're not going to argue with me. Greed has just run everything. That evil smell of greed and my way. They dangle that for people to come get. It's like fishing. The shadow officials, the people pulling the strings, they dangle that shit for people to get, oh yeah. Then they get in these high places of power, and then once these people are in power, they're controllable. Bill Gates, blah, blah, all these people, they're spiritually controllable through the system that the shadow government has in place, the shadow officials. It is one big, there's no United States versus China. There's no Ukraine versus Russia. There's no Israel versus Iran and Palestine, whoever Israel is beefing with. That's not real when it gets to the highest level of power. Are these the people we know about in power, like your president, prime ministers, dictators? They're controlled. There's a higher level up. And yes, sometimes the higher level up will control conflicts. They'll create conflict, war games, perpetual state of war, the vibe and move of a persistent Cold War. Like, you talk about the Cold War, were things getting a little heated between those countries and what things were actually being said by world leaders? Yeah. But dude, everyone and their brother is Cold War-esque these days. The average person, you have a conversation about war and how dangerous that could be, and how all these people are just sitting on the nuclear buttons and how dangerous that is. The average person's like, you're already in a state of Cold War. Like, we can go back in history and learn about the Cold War, but it's like, well, it's not shit, because we have bigger bombs now. But going back to the shadow officials, so the shadow officials control the world, not individual. They control everything. It's not like shadow people for the United States versus shadow people for China. It's one. Okay? And like I was saying, throughout history, you have this ability to control and impact people using dark magic and dark spiritual forces, and selling your soul and doing rituals and all that stuff, drinking adrenochrome. And what's happened now is we have these very powerful pieces of technology that are entire 1,000 acres of land type shit. Underground bunkers. Stuff that you don't know about. They let you know about the CERN Hadron Collider. Dude, they don't even have to give you all the full details. You can just go read about CERN, and they're obviously messing with reality. And they obviously know how to fuck with some shit, dude. If you look into what CERN really is, like opening up black holes and portals, they don't really... And why are they doing it? Who knows? They have weird symbolism. And they have weird events. Weird evil statues. Like, they have stuff that indicates a presence of dark magic. Like gargoyles and shit. I'm not playing around. They like pray to it and stuff, dude. I think they had like the Baphomet. I think the CERN Hadron Collider in Switzerland literally has like the Baphomet, which is like the male female like evil devil thing. It's like the devil with tits. That character sitting on the throne, it's like a devil with tits. But yeah, they want people talking about Diddy and Epstein. What'd they do again? Run a sex trafficking ring? Apparently for global elites, or Diddy was abusive to women in the music industry and men. Freak offs, baby oil. Like, come on, man. That's obviously just rampant. Why would we care about that? It's rampant. They're just distracting you. And they're pulling you away from the real equation. Because with these new forms of technology, some of them that we don't even know about, I really do think they can kind of hook people up. And you take these people who are mediums anyways, and of our time, the most powerful mediums and the most powerful spiritual people, they find, like the Jedi Order, they find these people and they use them. The shadow people. That's what the shadow people is, man. It's probably some kind of like selectively breeded. It's probably deep as hell, dude. But with this technology that gets us kind of bending reality, in my opinion, influx of evil spirits, and the ability to control people with your mind control, the frequency battle. Like there's somewhere is sitting this. There's a science sheet sitting there, dude, in some laboratory, talking about somebody getting hooked up to this machine and they could like project themselves into Bill Gates or something. Who knows? And they can project. It's like the Vampire Diaries when they entice people, when they compel people. That shit's real. They're remote viewing and then compelling world leaders to do their bidding. But yeah, the scapegoat. And once you learn or realize how deep the rabbit hole really, really goes, and the spiritual side of things, and the true power behind the esoteric and metaphysical world, dude, you're gonna hear these news stories and be like, instantly, bro, you'll be scrolling or get a notification of a news thing and you'll just instantly be able to come up with a pretty sound, logical conclusion on the truth and why that's really being done. Like the whole Trump getting shot in the ear, that whole thing, man. It's crazy. Oh, there was only a 0.001% chance that he should have lived. It was an easy shot. The shooter should have got him. He was a trained shooter. Just the stuff that they peppered into all that and the way they made it look on media. It was very clearly that Trump was to win this election. They don't need to rig the election results when they can just rig human beings. Everyone talks about election fraud. Do you know why everybody talks about election fraud? Because that's not how they stole the fucking election in 2020. More people voted for Joe Biden because they used the media, bro. They used the media. Everything they were doing that was like, oh, apparently in the middle, and oh, we care about society and all this stuff with the pandemic and all that. Dude, it was all steered away from Trump and towards Biden. You don't need, oh my God, North Carolina, there was, in Raleigh, there was some little town, and the ballots, they didn't let me in. I'm a MAGA Trump guy. I'm a random MAGA guy, and they wouldn't let me in to a closed place that's locked for a reason, so crazy people don't come in. Oh, they changed all these ballots, or they came in late, all the late ballots. Yeah, because they were telling people to do mail-in guess what? Every single mail-in vote was for Biden, because the kind of person who cucks to the pandemic is also going to vote for Biden. That's left-wing shit. The people that, yeah, the ballots came in late and they were all for Biden, but those people, if you remember in that time period, you were doing a mail-in ballot to avoid going in line and potentially catching the CV and the super spreaders. So yeah, it was those types of people. That's why it was all coming in for Biden. It was an information war, and the right wing lost. But you can't win that. There's no win or loss. There's nothing the individual person can do. You have a base of probably 100 million Americans. I'll say 50 to 100 million out of our population that are swing voters, that vote switch every time almost. They're moderates. They don't pay that much attention until election cycle, and they allow what they see in the media to decide. Like, they like, all right, we're going to start paying attention now because it's fun, kind of. And we're going to let, whoever comes out the winner, what we see, and all this stuff. You could see so obviously that the general message was, it wasn't vote for Biden, it was stop Trump. It was like, we got to stop Trump. It wasn't even like they they didn't brand Brandon as someone who is competent or turn the country around. They just said Trump bad, orange man bad, get him. But yeah, it was all that pandemic pandering. Don't get me started on some of these things, but yeah. Every election can be stolen from the information warfare. You do not need to fake the votes. You know why Trump beat Hillary Clinton? The media. They put Clinton in tough situations, in tough debates that she knew was going to get freaking lambasted by this crazy man who was not going to follow the rules of politics. And they knew Hillary, being a lifer politician and wanting to represent politicians in playing that role of that character, yeah, she's going to stick to her guns, and it's going to throw her off. Like, you're going to get thrown off. Just like he did with Biden. The dude was like short-circuiting. Because he was just him. He's just good at debating. But also, yeah, there wasn't a lot of branding for Hillary Clinton that wasn't targeted at Trump. And the way they peppered it made Hillary look bad. They set those ads up so that Trump's team and the internet people could just make fun of it. They set it up to fail for Hillary Clinton. Like, she lost that media. If you're just an innocent bystander watching, you're just like, damn, poor Hillary, bro. She's screwed. Like, you would see an ad and you'd be like, oh God, they're going to eat that for breakfast, dude. And the Reddit stuff with the young people too, and getting the young vote that year. Yeah, they did some massive stuff to. So yeah, that's my take on Diddy. I'd rather go down the real rabbit hole, not the fake rabbit hole. But yeah, with the scapegoat concept, they make people, the average person, the consumer, us at home, they want you to think that if someone is being abusive and sexual and doing bad things like Diddy and Epstein, that they're gonna catch the bad guy. They're gonna get the bad guy. They got the bad guy. It's what a lot of those big cases are. From what I heard, he got off of the charges, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't pay attention. I don't hear about it. It doesn't enter my world. I'd have to go out of my way and Google search it. It just doesn't. It doesn't get in. Unless I talk to someone. A lot of stuff, bro, I hear through word of mouth. Going out and about and just talking to random people. But it makes no difference. The outcome, innocent, blah, blah, blah. Epstein's outcome. It made no difference. It just doesn't. Alright, you guys. Here's a quick rundown of my brand slogans. So, when you're doing a self-development, I find that you want to have, like, I call this my commandments, but they're just quick words or sentences that ring true to me as a person, my brand, and how I want to be. And you gotta know yourself. It's important to know yourself and know who you want to be so you can go out and execute it, and it will make you happy. You know, we want to be the people that we want to be, but it takes work to get there. I had to work very hard to become the person that I wanted to be. But there was one day that I really did, like months ago, like 8 months ago, and I looked in the mirror and I said, there he fucking is. That's what I wanted. The way I look, the way I talk, the way I act, my habits, my belief system, my spiritual growth, my laying down my map, just throwing out, crinkling up and throwing away my map and saying, forget the map. We're just going to go with the freaking flow, baby. I don't know where I'm going. It doesn't matter who I am or what I achieve anymore. My energy and my output towards other people is more important. And also executing my dreams is more important. So yeah, I'm just sharing something that was very important to me in my rise of consciousness, but it's important to know yourself. So let's talk about my list of brand slogans. Do your job. I'm just going to run these down. Execute. Big trust. That's right. That's big trust, man. Coming through in the clutch, baby. Yep. Ultimate belief, unwavering faith, dependence on the spirits, dependence on the universe, dependence on the Lord, dependence on yourself. It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. And there's been many times that I've done dirty jobs that other people didn't want to do, that I did with a smile on my face. It's my brand. Dirty job. Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? I like to be vague and mysterious. I'm him, but more importantly, we're him. You know, going around being like the I'm him is cool, but if you can be like, we're him together, we can all be him. Stay hard like a blue chew. Biohacking. I'm a biohacker with the different supplements and substances I take. Outside the matrix, playing a different game. Being rich in spirit. Row, row, row your boat. And it doesn't say gently down the stream. You want to row, row, row your boat upstream like a madman. And then kind of chill a little bit. No, dude, go with the flow. And sometimes the flow has you like, fuck this shit. This little lifeboat is turned into a yacht with some big engines, and we're going up the river. We're not going with this flow. We're going to go up the river now. And things, I command thee to change. Number 13. Win, baby, win. See you at the top. Bring it, baby. I said bring it, baby, to life, and life, it brought it, bro. Whatever it takes. That's my Captain America vibe. Whatever it takes. We ain't dreaming, we scheming. Chips on the table, we all in. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. I'm the magic man. Grateful for this opportunity. If you're not early, you're late. But I'll be fashionably late if I feel like it. Just wake up. If you ain't first, you're last. Fuck 'em. Just says number 25, fuck 'em. Hell yeah, bro, fuck 'em. Sometimes, dude, fuck 'em. Life's a game, but it's not fair. I break the rules, so I don't care. Shout out Rihanna. This is the day the universe has given us. If you prepare for the worst and are okay with the worst, then the best will come. Take me on your mighty wings. Embrace the gray. The beast life ain't easy, but someone's gotta do it. Retard max. Energy kit. Chew glass. Breathe smoke. Get rowdy. Zero limitations. We are kings of Babylon. Hell yeah. Fucking right. Rut season never ends. Stay busy. Dude, rut season, that's like the time of the year the deer are trying to like mate. The rut season, the deer's in rut. Rut season never ends, boy. Yeah. But those are my Bryan commandments. But yeah, no, it helps to do that yourself. You know, for some people it's more simple and conservative and traditional, and that can be good. I'm a little outside the box all over the place, and my brand slogans reflect that. Fried Bryan statistic of the day. I pick up loose roaches. When I see a blunt or a joint roach, I do keep it for my own consumption. I am a scavenger pro. Yeah, the PCP, moving on to the next. The PCP misconception. It's a dissociative psychedelic. And PCP we always hear about in the news is the drug that makes people go crazy. But people have eye-opening experiences on it. And even use it for mental health. There's this whole like PCP culture. Angel dust. But no, it's more likely if you smoke PCP that it'll make someone start doing Ramadan or something. You know, it's more likely you're going to start doing Ramadan compared to running butt naked into the back window of an SUV like Michael Phelps jumping into a pool to win a gold medal. And that's when you see a PCP clip, you usually... But see, with all those drug clips, a lot of them are Flocka, that weird, like, bath salts, dude. Like, people smoking bath salts, man. It's not even PCP. But some of it they do, it will literally be a video on a closed caption TV, a security cam footage of a dude just running full sprint, butt ass naked, no shoes. Just sprinting through a parking garage. And as soon as they see a Cadillac Escalade, a big old Escalade, they see that shit and they really do be thinking they're Michael Phelps trying to win the gold medal, and they just dive in the back of windows, bro. Just diving through windows. Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps. No, I've never done PCP, but I seen a docuseries episode about it with Hamilton Morris. He's that psychedelic drug scientist dude with the TV show. But bro, they got ketamine ads. And I haven't seen any lately, so I don't know if that didn't go so well. But they had ads I remember seeing on Instagram saying you go online, fill out some stuff, and they'd send you some special K. For mental health purposes. You get to do Special K for your mental health disorder. Like, hell yeah, dude. To me, that's like a new episode of my favorite show coming out. Like, what? I can just order some ket and get into a K-hole? But I'm sure they give you a responsible amount. But I don't see ads for the ketamine treatment anymore. Did it not go well? Like, the people tried to do ketamine and they went crazy because they've never done drugs in their life. So if you try to do a disassociated psychedelic and you're not used to changing your state of consciousness, dude, you're not even gonna know, bro. So I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, dissociative psychedelics, in that world, they don't have the best track record or the best, you gotta do this, you know? People are be like, oh, you gotta try shrooms or LSD. No one's like, you gotta try PCP or you gotta try this ketamine. It's usually some hardcore party drug festival type shit. But definitely seeing that show with Hamilton Morris and him getting to know some of the PCP users. There were people that were using it and abusing it and addicts. There was also people who did it very occasionally and talked good about it. And there was some old trippy dude living out in like the forest who just do PCP and make drawings and paintings. And then he was a painter. He'd like sell them for thousands of dollars. That'd be sweet, just getting geeked on PCP and just painting. Although I'm not a very good painter. What would I do on PCP? I'd probably just go straight for trying to get laid, you guys. I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lie. My mind would probably be somewhere in there trying to party and get down with some ladies. Yeah, I wanted to talk, it is Bryan's World, right? My career. Nobody knows. When you look at my resume, there's gaps in my employment. But no one really knows just the level and degree of how hard I was working on my podcast, my body, my spirituality, and the things around me. During the gaps in my employment, like I was glowing up. And when I was younger, I always saw myself trying a whole bunch of different hodgepodge of jobs. So I'm cool with it, man. And my resume can be really good in the right eyes. I got some cred and brownie points working some of the sales jobs that I've done. I was at an interview, dude even said, like, you've been through the ringer. But yeah, I'm definitely right now, I can be a culture change guy. If you're a football fan, Jarvis Landry and like Baker Mayfield would join the Browns. Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, and Kevin Stefanski and the GM, they helped turn around the culture. They took something shitty and turned it mediocre. Hell yeah. But yeah, this dude that was interviewing me for the sales job, I could have taken it, but I wanted something more stable. He was saying his sales force is probably out there scrolling TikTok. Anybody with some go-get could run circles. But yeah, at a sales job with a good system in place, like selling cars, I can come in and make plays, man. And I have leadership skills, emotional intelligence, the clutch DNA. So even if some of it looks like a job hopping, the actual human that's behind that resume is pretty fire and dope and powerful and skilled. So even when I'm at rock bottom, I always feel good about this and what I have. I used to be a drinker and I talk bad about my experiences with alcohol. It definitely did open windows to some level and degree, has had something positive to do with my personality. I think, in high school I didn't really understand like partying and shit like that. So when I started partying in college, I'm just like, oh dude, partying is cool. I like this. It used to be something my personality didn't vibe with, but now I'm all about the rage, dude. But yeah, I don't know. I used to be a weirdly antisocial. Alcohol helped me go out to the bars and not feel anxiety and just be loose and have fun. And yeah, it would drag me to bad places, but there are some positive things I've done on alcohol and some badass shit that's cool and dope and powerful. The longest song in my playlist, probably All the Way Turned Up. I feel like I've been listening to that song for since it came out, like 15 years. Damn. Yeah, I feel like I listen to that song almost every day if I've had access to music. All the Way Turned Up, Roscoe Dash. Times were they simpler? I don't know. Maybe. Just in a different way. I heard some bad stuff about Tylenol and that it rips the stomach lining. So, if you're using Tylenol daily, probably look into something else. Even weekly, you should probably only use it in emergencies. It causes leaky gut, apparently. And it can be responsible for like millions of people's health issues, stomach wise. Tylenol is cheap and effective, but the cost on your body is not worth it. Just because it heals some pain in the temporary. You know, you gotta look at the cost benefit analysis when it comes to these types of substances. I don't know. I'm not gonna never take Tylenol. I'm gonna have it in case I need it for an emergency. But yeah, really only want to use that shit in emergencies, man. All right, I think that's good. I think we covered some powerful things. Um, but yeah, you can always keep going. You know, I just took a quick 5, dude. Blast a little more kratom. It's 10:43 at night. I got work in the morning. But you only get one chance. Do not miss your chance to blow. The spaghetti is an opportunity. Yeah. I don't know. But speaking of that, oregano on the other side of things, oregano can kill fungus and harmful bacteria. It's also a great flavoring. I don't use heavy cream or barely any butter in like my pastas and rice. So I'm out here caring about my micro calories. What is that called again? Your microfibers or whatever, dude. Your micro calories or micro nutrients. But I try to cut corners and you find inches. So I just never use heavy cream. Really don't use much cheese either. I don't eat much cheese. Cheese is addicting. It's the devil, man. No, that is crazy. They say that cheese hits the same receptors as opiates, which is your opiate receptors. Your opioid receptors get tingled. Me being a user of a substance that tingles the opium receptors, kratom, I can tell you that yes, cheese definitely hits that shit. A little slice of cheese is like blasting a little bit of kratom, dude. No, seriously though, I really, when I heard that, I started really paying attention to how I felt when I eat cheese. And there really is, like, damn, I feel that. I know what that is. I utilize that. I utilize those receptors in my brain. They're there for a reason, right? Gotta hit them, bro. Don't just leave them hanging. But yeah, no. In this grand life, Your inches, bro. Your inches are so important. It's not just the inches on your dick, but the inches around us. The inches you need are everywhere around you. And you talk to a lot of people, like the upper middle class people. A lot of them didn't have that high paying of a job, but it was the inches. Whether it was insurance or this or that, mortgage rates, whatever, they always found those little inches and those little ways to save money and cut corners. So for me, in my cooking and my health, that's been big, man. If I had been using heavy cream or more fat content in my meals, it would show on my body. Literally over time, that would be in me and it would have a negative consequence. I like to add, well, you can add too, corn, dude. Just add healthier stuff. There is a whole corn conspiracy. I don't want to get into that without internet. I really can't even Google search right now, bro. It's that bad. I literally can't use Google. But yeah, dude, hit it with the full spice cabinet. I try to keep my spices stacked up. I just go hard on the spices to flavor things. Momentum, staying in the pocket. When the pressure's coming, you got to be like Tom Brady and stay in the pocket, move around in the pocket, make throws, dude. And if you stick with a certain momentum, it just makes life easier. When it swings back around, it's going to just feel that much better. Life lessons from high school football. I didn't really write anything or elaborate on this. It just says life lessons from high school football. Hard work is such a cliche terminology. But yeah, I would say putting in extra hard work. Because in high school football, that off season was big, man. Training in the off season was massive. People would really get into it, and I was really into it. And I was one of those people that would put the extra work in just to be average. I might have not been that talented or skills, or my mind wasn't developed in a way where I could react the way I needed to react on the football field to be a high level player. But I was able to make myself average just from hard work and being strong and that kind of shit. So yeah, I think like the extra work and extra development. Because it wasn't just you dicked around in the off season. When you're like in high school playing football, it's pretty serious shit. And I went above and beyond that. I started lifting with my cousin, dude. Rest in peace, Bob. Jesus. But yeah, I started lifting with him, and he, that's why you gotta carry on for people. A lot of the strength that I have was gained learning from him. But that idea of, hey, if you want to accomplish this, you need to put in extra work. And I maybe could have done more in the film room and things like that. But that concept that, hey, all the little tiny things that you do add up. All these little tiny workouts, it affects your play. It affects your body and your mind. And you can apply that to anything. It's not just like, oh, I work out now and that's my side thing. Like anything that I pick up. Podcasting, for example. I listen to my own podcast and review it and film study. Now, a lot of the times it's editing. I'm not just sitting there listening to it, but I'm editing it. So, and part of editing it is listening for the best parts. But even that, putting in the extra work into my craft. And that I have that concept in my head that if I do all these little things, my output is better. Like tonight's show, all the things I've talked about tonight, I've tried to do in previous attempts at making long form content. And I get distracted in my own issues and go off into a tangent that I didn't plan that doesn't come out to the quality that I'm trying to be fucking with out here. But I think that's the biggest takeaway from high school football, high school sports, just the concept of extra work. That you have this one thing, and to be good at that thing, you have to do other satellite activities to make yourself better at that thing. It's a whole system. Yeah, understanding systems too. Like that ended up helping with jobs and stuff. With football, like every year, we ran the same 4-3 defense my whole career. So that really wasn't different. But every year you would install a new offense for the most part because it's practical to do that. If you carry one offense from one year to the next, they're going to have film on it and you're going to be predictable, especially in high school level. What else? Leadership skills. Yeah, there were some times like as a junior, I started being like somewhat of a leader, my own wacky way. In the off season, there'd be like little lifting groups. I'd be like a captain maybe and things like that. That year, junior year, I was the starting middle linebacker for JV for junior varsity. I got a little bit of time on the varsity, like special teams and shit. But I mainly played Saturday mornings, baby. And with the other linebackers, they're really good. We were like, I don't know if we allow a touchdown. Now it's JV, so what ends up happening is we'll play 2 quarters of shutout football, then they'll throw in like the backups. Because you want to get those young kids some experience as well in the JV. It's not just for like the juniors who aren't good enough to be on varsity. Although we had a pretty good JV defense. Like it did not feel like a JV defense. It just wasn't. It was definitely like, I'm not saying we would have been good varsity level, but we wouldn't have been that bad. We wouldn't have been bad. We would have been all right, maybe. Against shitty teams, we would have been just fine. So yeah, the leadership, being in a little bit of a spotlight, as middle linebacker and the younger freshmen on the JV team, they might learn from you or look up to you. You're going to have as you get older, your personality shows. I was a pretty good mindset and personality leader for younger. Just like being yourself and being brave to be yourself. I had no problem with that. Sometimes to my own detriment, but preparation. Yeah, that goes along with what I initially said about high school sports. I guess for football, being the center of attention, and not like I was the center of attention, but our team. Like football is the most popular sport at every school in terms of like it means more. It just is more exciting. It's bigger. It's on a bigger scale. There's more people come to the games. There's people that are legitimately just interested in high school football that will just go watch it. They don't even have a kid playing. You got it's a Friday night, dude. The stadium's packed and there's, the team of 50 dudes. You guys are what everybody came to see. You guys are there to do battle with the other team. That's what they came to fucking see, bro. They came to see you. And even if you weren't like a star on the field, all the things that you did, all your contributions and working hard and being part of the squad, you're still part of it, even if you're not playing that much. So yeah, I think the center of the tension ideology, the man on the stage, I think that probably gave me some initial bravery and being enticed and interested in being the man on the stage. It gave me like reps and you know, with my teammates. We all had reps of being center stage on a Friday night. But yeah, moving on. The importance of playing around with it and having fun. How much easier it is to grind and hustle and keep going with the flow and think of ideas and appreciate things. When you're kind of just winging it and having fun with it, you're not too over the top with what you want or what you want others to think of you. You're just playing around, shooting the shit, rolling dice. And that's when your luck will start to click. A lot of things start clicking when you're just playing around, being the big dum-dum. Staying focused, staying positive. And you have fun. You imagine, visualize. Some people use the term daydream. I'm all about day scheming. Why are we dreaming when we could be scheming, baby? And don't drift off in your visualizations. Keep them in the realm of possibilities. You know, visualize what you can do. Just what you want to do. Just do it. And you don't want to go around acting like you discovered the secret formula of the Krabby Patty, though. Don't be the high horse guy. Yeah, you want to feel illuminated and higher level consciousness, but you're dragging other people with you. You're not trying to show off. You need to be cool. The swag has got to be backed by the idea that you can make people's day in a quick span of minutes. That you can say something that will enlighten someone and make their day or make them happy. If you're going to have pep in your step, you got to have proof in your pudding. Let's see, trying to find a girlfriend. Why would I do that when I could invest time in trying to be internet famous and have 2 OnlyFans girls on a leash? Because I'm like that, dude. But for real though, nah. It's a battle of consciousness, man. I'm out here fighting for the good side. Closer to nature, closer to humanity. Everything's is clicks and likes and how much likes and how much clout. We're forgetting what just normal ass content from the soul even is. But yeah, I don't know. You forget about things like trying to find a girlfriend when you have a life battle. I already have a child that I have split custody with, and I'm very present. And in fact, there's been a lot of times I've avoided or ducked the dating world to stay focused on my daughter. But yeah, no, my body count is at 9 right now. And I don't like to say stuff like that or be like that. But for real, I'm holding out. I'm at 9, so we want a 10 for 10 ESPN, baby. Number 10 gotta be a 10. BryansWorld. How he pulled a 10 for number 10. And like the film roll is going. Like interviewing a friend. He used to be the weirdest guy, I swear to God. But the next thing you know, I mean, you look over and there he's got a crowd of women. I mean, an entire crowd of women trying to get his autograph and trying to take his shirt off. No, not like that. But sometimes I do be the friend that you lose me and then you find me chopping it up with some ladies. And I'm not super like vocal when I'm seeing someone. I'm kind of vague on social media with it. So I do wonder what people think. Because, you know, there's people you lose touch with, but they see all your shit on social media every day. But you don't talk to them. But they still see your shit. I know what you're doing. And I'm vague. So do people know? Like, okay, he had a divorce 3 years ago. I'm sure everybody's, you know, wondering how many people he's been with since then. How many ladies we talking here? It is funny to think about. I like being vague about it. I'm like a Chad and an incel at the same time. I'm not real. I'm a figment of your imagination. But I'd rather not participate in dating right now. Like using the apps, DMs, and networking, bars, shooting shots in public. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to participate in it, but I don't know. I like this whole one time a year you randomly stumble into some strange. I like those real life random encounters. And not participating in the dating world keeps my confidence and energy very high. So it puts me in a good spot to stumble into something. I'm just a fully validated person. Dating isn't this checkbox in my head. I need somebody on my level if I'm going to do all that. Like, who really wants to find out how much horsepower is under the hood? You got a whole afternoon, honey? Jeez. But going back to social media talk, the algorithm is causing people to be reactive over things too much. And it definitely spills over into our life. And it's hard to notice until you legitimately stop the same scrolling routine and break out of those chains. But anything that enters your visual field is a potential stimulus that can affect your mood one way or the other. You're really playing the dice with social media because you might see something that just pisses you off or annoys you or makes you jealous and compare yourself to others. You just get sucked into that. Stuff that'll make you second guess yourself. But yeah, think about how you react to things in your visual field. Like, let's say you see somebody you love and that feeling of excitement. And some of these things like that are just pure, awesome emotional reactions. But to a certain level, things like opinions in politics and shit like that, we're conditioned to act a certain way for certain things. And strong emotions can come out over anything if you let it. Think of how people, your left wing and your right wing people, that when they're out in public, they always want to profess their ideology. And when they find someone of the opposite party, oh, they're just ready to debate and ready to argue. But really, in this realm, we have the ability to break free from chains. Learn to live in the moment. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're seeing in your visual field, make the best of it. Think the best of it. And you can control kind of what enters your visual field to some degree. And social media is one of those things that we can control. And we can choose to put better things in our visual field. And that's how, you can feel the emotions of the world, but you don't let anything drag you down. The whole podcast scene, it is a little annoying to me. Like just the average podcaster and the things they say and their vision and the same talking points. But no, you have these guys like Adam22, and I don't want to use Joe Rogan, but where really it's just a bunch of famous people that are guests. That's kind of their premise. That you have famous people and you interview famous people about things. And it's an open forum for ideas to flow. Which is cool. Like, some of these people deserve to be on camera. Joe does. Some of the people he has on doesn't. But a lot of them do. And they do produce some good stuff. But when you start getting off-brand of Joe Rogan and into the other comedians, I mean, you really do have like whatever person they can get on there to get their views up. Let's say like Stavros. Stav from Cumtown. I know him as Stav from Cumtown, but most people just think of him as a famous comedian. Before he was a famous comedian, he was years and years on this underground podcast called Cumtown. That is one of my favorite creations in the podcasting world. I think it's Um, as far as like from the soul and just like a good hang and people that will feel like your friends just by listening to them. I think they did a Nick Mullen and Adam Friedland and Stav. They was fantastic. And I don't even know if Stav wasn't even my like. He was kind of the one that was just laughs. Yeah, I mean, he said funny stuff, but they would always make fun of him because they'd be like, "You don't do anything other than laugh." Like his laugh was hysterical. That was one of the things about that show. But no, like Adam 22, bro. Imagine Adam 22 trying to do what I do, trying to sit down every day and come up with things that are new and funny and also spiritually enlightening and thought provoking. Imagine that man, like what the average thing that he posts on social media or the talking points that he bring up. Imagine him trying to do what I do. And when I'm out here trying to illuminate people and fill a hole that I saw in the whole industry, yeah, it's a little annoying because without the guests, without kids caring about these names just because they're names and they made a couple rap songs, and then they talk about generic guy talk about sex, money, and a lot of Hollywood blabbing. I'm this, I've done this in my life, I talk to these people. Hollywood gossip. I saw this guy that time with this guy. And it can be entertaining. And they have a lot of good stories and such. But just that illuminated enlightenment, like those people want to do good for you. They want whatever gets more clicks. And a lot of things like, all right, you're making shit for kids at that point. Because kids are the ones that click the clickbait. Oh, I'm going to listen to this because NBA Youngboy was on Adam 22 and they made a porno. Like, all right, what kind of people are even... One, like, yeah, dude, when those famous, the people that he has on are people that kids are into, like the rappers. So at a certain point, you have to realize that some of your demographic is going to be under the age of 18 and even as young as like 9, and you know, some sophisticated 10-year-olds might get into Adam 22 way too young. And then like the fuck boy mentality and the city boy mentality and like the judgment Hollywood, it gets projected onto somebody who's just living in goddamn Baltimore. There's just some kid in a Baltimore suburb that acts like Adam 22 because he's been listening to him since he's 10. I don't know how realistic that is, but no, you guys know that those get some younger eyes on them. It's the same thing with I show my balls to kids. I show speed or whatever. They know that they have to know that they're reaching younger audiences. And that older people and more sophisticated adults don't even... It's just mundane garbage. I get how it's entertainment. And who am I to say what's content, what's not content? But again, my main point is, can Adam 22 do what I do? I don't know if Joe Rogan could necessarily do what I do. But they blow up off guests. They get big because of the guests. And they get these little viral moments that really are just doctored up and edited in the shorts with some kind of deep, entrancing tune. And the edits to make it seem like what they're saying is groundbreaking. But if you remove all the edits, it's like a laugh track. These shorts edits for the podcast clips are like laugh tracks. If you're not actually... If something you create... Think of what a laugh track is. It's telling you when to laugh. Okay? It's literally controlling you. It's trying to get you to laugh when they want you to laugh. And that's kind of what these people do with like those shorts that get circulated. But yeah, I do think, I don't know. Maybe there's a whole lot of people doing exactly what I do. And I'm just in my own world, kind of boxed off from the internet. And thinking I'm the hottest shit in town. And living in my own world. You know what? That's fun. I enjoy it. But yeah, just the ways you can get perma-famous. Like Lil Xan. He had one song that was good called Betrayed. And then, he can just go do things to make money. Stupid little things and show up places and make money. Because he's famous. He's been in the spotlight. So people care about you just because you've been in the spotlight. And just because you made this one song. Now, does he have interesting stories and an interesting tale to tell? Yeah. I would fucks with him on my show because there's something unique and interesting about his story before I fuck with like Drake. If I had a choice between Drake and Lil Xan, I would choose Lil Xan. Now Drake would get me way more famous, bro. But I'm more concerned with the content. And like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be feeling like Sean Strickland around some of these famous people. I'm not an ass kisser. I think I'm on the same level as them cognitively and my abilities and what I'm capable of producing. Just on my own. Without no producer, no group. No one telling me to do this or that. What's the right move? No one propping me up. I feel like I'm on their level. So I look at them differently. And someone like Drake, I don't like a lot of shit about Drake. I like his music. But just because I like someone's music doesn't mean I need to like them as a human. It's like LeBron James. If LeBron James wanted to win championships, he wouldn't soak up 30% of his team's cap space when he's already making more than that in Hollywood. He's making just as much money off other shit than basketball. He's got that king's mindset, and we're gonna be a legacy family of kings. The prince, is a prince ever a good king? The one who was brought up, you see all these issues with kings, and it's in the family, so you become the king. And the ideology is to keep the family tight, and you keep traditions alive that suit leadership roles, right? If you're a king, if you're in a king's family, you do things a certain way because that's just like the people that came before you and that were kings in your family. Your great grandpa was king. Now you're about to be king. It's because you do things a certain way. Culture, tradition. But what happens is you get this sense of entitlement eventually through enough generations. We've seen, hey, what happens with kings? They usually get overthrown and new regimes come in. It's not just in the same family. Back in the day, man, that shit would change hands. Conquerors. New kings with new ideology. New leaders rising up. New factions. But yeah, it is disappointing how hard it is to get your message to the people who would want to hear it. And I don't do much search engine optimization or anything fancy, so I'm just hoping for some kind of mistake at this point. But it is me as a content creator, like I have to listen to a lot of my stuff back, and maybe I haven't been listening to enough podcasts over the years, so I don't even know what I'm missing. But I think what I do is competitive, man. It hasn't always been the best, but when I'm at my best, producing at my best, yeah, I'm feeling good about it. So maybe one day I can have guests on my own to grabble. Yeah, dude, next show we're just gonna put all this Bryan's World wholesome shit to rest. What did I say earlier I was gonna do? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get back into conspiracies and start saying I'm a prophet and I know what the end times are coming or something. I'm gonna pander. Sometimes you just gotta pace around listening to music jacked up on caffeine, plotting your overthrow. That's an important part of the come up, dude. Just listening to music, kind of pacing, just so many thoughts. I must inflict my will on my enemies. Kings of Babylon 2. Do we want to go down that? I feel like I've already kind of stuffed this episode a little bit with stuff. Oh yeah, going back to an old news story. The SpaceX rocket exploding minutes after takeoff in the first test flight. This was back like last summer, 2 summers ago. A $3 billion Starship designed to take humans to Mars. Thing only lasted 4 minutes in a test flight. And this is SpaceX, so we're talking Elon Musk's. Sounds like his rockets don't last very long. He should probably look into that. Was it a red rocket? Did Elon's red rocket only last 4 minutes? Honestly, though, hearing about Elon and just looking at that dude and listening to him talk, lasting 4 minutes is actually pretty good for that gooner. He seems like a guy who just goons off 10 times a day. Just checking. It does take more than 4 minutes to get to Mars, right? Did it actually make it to Mars in 4 minutes? That's all it lasted. And the thing with this SpaceX rocket and throwing it back to the number 33, you guys. There was a video I did with the Kansas City Chiefs and their Super Bowl victory, and those dudes who died out in 33-degree weather. And then there's all this stuff. Patrick Mahomes, like 33 rushing yards. Dude, no, there's a bunch, bro. His like stat line has a bunch of numbers in it. And it all goes back to the 33. But this 33, if you're a truth or a conspiracy person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. 33 is a common number. Kind of the origination of 33 will kind of be the 33-degree Masons. People think that, like, so you have the Freemasons. You ever heard Freemasons? It's like a jacked up church group. It's kind of it's very secretive. But you'll see the lodges. It's that G with the ruler. You'll see a lot of towns have a Freemasons lodge, and you go there and you get initiated. It's like a little group. But there's this whole thing where, the 32-degree Masons, like the highest you can get without getting crazy. Once you get to the 33rd degree, once you level up to that status in the Freemasons, the 33, it's like some next level shit, and they're controlling everything, and they're the shadow government. Some people really do they'll blame the Jews, they'll blame George Soros. They'll blame this one group, like the Freemasons control it all. And that's just pepper. That's just salt and pepper they put in there to fuck with you. Is there some compartmentalized information that is kept within Freemasons at high levels? Yes. Are they involved with some occult-like behavior at the high levels with high-ranking members of government and celebrity and rich business elite having presence in it? Yes. There is some gravy to it. But what they do is they try to get you to think that you found the bad guy. I found him. Yes. That's the same thing with like the Jews are running everything. It's crazy talk to think that one group that you can know of that exists, that you know about, that they're the ones calling all the shots. There should be a lot more evidence to back up those claims. But it's really just a lot of mumbo jumbo bullshit. If you listen to like one of those people that think the Jews are running it all, or they think the Freemasons are running it all, or for some reason they think both, and they're like, oh, well, someone else is blah, blah, blah. They're just all over the place. It's because those things were manufactured by the shadow government, by the real puppet masters that you don't even know exist. They dropped the scapegoats. They have these secret societies doing occult shit and using the elite puppets, involving those elite puppets, and you draw those correlations, but it ends up being a dead end. You get to a dead end. It's just like, how could what implications does it have that the Freemasons, your little Freemason lodge over there, is secretly involved with some government corruption and all this stuff? It's far-fetched when you really break it down logically. It'd be much easier, like, dude, remote viewing. Like I was talking about the technology, they have technology that's breaking reality. They're breaking physics. Next level shit. They can put people into meetings with higher dimension people, like entities. They're in there with the DMT entities, bro, like Alex Jones talks about. They're in the freaking meetings, bro, with higher powers. It's so much easier. It's just, why would you even bother with Freemasons or the Jews or something physical when you have to understand that it's coming from a spiritual warfare? It is not your X's and O's and your dollars and bills. And you can do this, you can do that. Our rules and laws. That stuff a lot of times is in place to practically run society. It's the spiritual and the consciousness warfare. Forget some of the stuff like the poisoning and chemicals. I do think the chemicals they put in the water and the food, I think that primes us to be affected by like their spiritual attack and the frequency attack. I think it's maybe priming humans to be more mergeable with machinery in the future, you know, the brain chip type stuff. But yeah, no, the spiritual battle is like the real ground level shit. And you can fight back against it. There ain't nothing physical you can do. You can just be good energy and good vibe to the people you meet. That's the way to fight back. This is the only fucking way that actually works, bro. You will not fight back against their system until you go out there and make people smile and do good things for the people around you in your life. You know, how often do I visit family? I spend 2 weekends a month. Whenever I have my daughter, I go take her up with family and we visit family. But yeah, man, it's little things like that where you fight back. Going here and talking about the 33-degree Freemasons is what they want you to do. They want you to be mad and upset. See how this shit works, dude? So you're a good person. You're a truther. You care about the world. You don't want to see this New World Order stuff. So what do? They have your scapegoats for you to go on and get your pitchforks and get all riled up about. And then you go out in public and start spewing your shit that Jews are running everything. And then people think you're crazy and offensive. And now you're doing what they want. They want to bring people down. They want to cause mass confusion. They want people feeling uncomfortable and so that they can corral you like a sheep. They want that chaos, bro. That shit's all the chaos. They want. You're carrying out their vision. A lot of this truther stuff, man. I'm all about it. I'm all for the truth and improving your level of consciousness. But if you really want to improve your level of consciousness, you find that a lot of these pearls that you're clutching have got to go. I mean, there's some obvious things like 9/11. Everybody knows about 9/11. But the main thing, you can believe what you want to believe, but if you feel compelled to make people believe what you want to believe, which if you talk to one of these people that are very serious about the Jews and the 33-degree Freemasons, bro, they're going to try so hard to get you to agree with them and just say, yes, you're right. They will, are even if you're not, even if you say, hey, I see what you're talking about, but maybe no, let's talk about it a little bit more in detail, they'll just change the subject. Classic debate tactics, like smoke and mirrors, changing subjects. It's cap, dude. And you could be out there if you really wanted to participate in this war to awaken people's mind, dude. Talking about the Freemasons and stuff, like what? It really is a black. It's a hole, dude. It's not a rabbit hole. It's just a normal hole. You're gonna get to the bottom, and there's nowhere else to go with that shit. Like there's logistic. Dude, I'm a flat earther. I can talk about the logistics behind our Earth being flat. I can sit here and break that down for you if I wanted to. Like how that would work. Information compartmentalized, blah, blah, blah. Again, a lot of spiritual brainwash type shit. But there's certain things in the conspiracy community that logistically doesn't add up. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, going back to that 33, man. Now that you heard this, 33, remember the number 33 when you go look at the news or read a news article. Keep your eyes open because you'll see it. Like the one time I read a news article, it was saying like 33 children were kidnapped or something. And the main suspect, James Charles, age 33. James Charles. What's up with James Charles? Yeah, he's pretty cute. Let's be honest, you guys. Let's not be naive. Don't lie. No, but shout out James Charles. If we turn socialist and balanced out resources, so there's a talk about that. Utopia. I used to talk about utopia and the idea of us implementing more socialism to even things out a little bit. And I'm not even saying go away from capitalism. I'm just saying, like, when you break down what you do with money, okay, like what you spend it on, what you use money for, what it represents, $50 million per year, any more than that is excess, and you're just hoarding chunks. And it's not even, dude, the crazy thing, these people with money, bro, they hold their money on things that make even more money. So they get these large sums of money that then they can use to funnel more money out of the economy into their bank accounts. But it's not even like they're just hoarding money in a bank account. No, they're constantly moving the money around to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. A lot of times most rich people just, I don't know, they're in the know though. They have access to things that normal people don't. Like the normal person will talk about trying to get a 10% return per year on like mutual funds. But all right, I'm put my money in mutual funds. I'm going to trust the company that runs the fund. I'm going to trust the fund that they have a balanced portfolio and expose me to risk, but also balance that out. And then no matter what, they're going to get me a 10% return. I wonder with rich people if that number is a little different. More like 17. Like, yeah, we get under the under the blankets. You don't want to know what happens under the blankets. But yeah, no, it's just funneling money, man, at a certain point. Like, why? Like, these sports players and these, like, billionaires are just using their $1 billion to make more billions of dollars. And then we have all these issues and all these underfunded programs. And if we just made the rule the 50 million a year, that we could jack up the minimum wage to like $30 an hour, and that'd be very feasible in the way money moves. And then the more people would have more money to buy more shit, and it would strengthen our economy and open up more jobs because there'd be more spending. And instead of these big money figures just sitting in accounts earning more money for one person, that money can be more evenly distributed in a way that actually benefits the economy, that benefits our GDP, that allows us to give the average person a more livable wage. It's easier to get a higher end wage. People would work more, face less problems with more money. We just need to balance it out a little bit because it's just way out of hand. Like the 1% own 99% of the wealth. That's insanity. If you think logistically, that, well, they're never going to let AI run the world because AI is just going to be like, first things first, the billionaires, not just your money, but you need to go. Goodbye, devil. Goodbye, devil, evil, greed people. You're done. You're done. You're done. Goodbye. A little dick. A little dick. Little dick. Sorry, I have Tourette's. For real though, man. Now, we can talk about that all day. And we could talk about how, man, if we were just a little bit smarter and we just implemented a little more socialism and had some cutoffs, how we could redistribute that money, balance it out so the average person has a more livable wage, more money to spend, a better life, is spending more in the economy now, fueling the economy, fueling American production. We could move inwards. All we'd have to do, we could stop with this. If we just care more about our people, we don't have to offshore production. We don't have to offshore resources. When we can create more and be more of a generating resources economy instead of depending on other nations and China for everything. Instead of cheap labor, we should just have more expensive labor. We should have more American-made stuff. But what, dude, profits. It's a greedy CEOs at the top that are choosing to offshore this shit for the profit. And guess what? That profit that guy, that extra margin that he's trying to get because he knows how much of it goes into his pocket. That's what's running everything right now, bro. It's just somebody's pocket. It's being run by somebody's pocket. That person's already rich. They don't even need any more. Their lives are already where they need to be. What more do you need, sir? But no, we're still going to squeeze. And because of those people, the earth is suffering because China, in terms of like pollution, they don't give a shit. And their standard of living, they don't give a shit. It's fucked. It's not like all bad, but as far as the bad in China versus our bad, the working class, it's not pretty, dude. It's not pretty. There's a reason why Apple had to make the nets on the side of the building because people were jumping off of them. They had to make nets on their building for their factory because people were choosing to jump off. And again, if we raise the minimum wage and have more jobs available and more shit being produced here, and we moved away from automation, we can keep the automation we have now, just cut it off. Because we do these things and we make it easier for the average person to have an average life. That's all we're trying to do. Just make it easier for the average person to have an average life and have what they need to be happy. And it'd be very easy just moving money around. Out You take all the money that's being used to earn billionaires more money in their stock accounts so they can have more and more and more and more and funnel more and more and more off of our economy and us as people, and stealing from our wealth and from our spirits and the evil spiritual warfare they're doing, all that shit. We need to stop it, but that's where, if you're really enlightened and you really understand things on a spiritual level and what's going on in the world and the purpose of the world and what we're here to do and why life exists and the secrets and mystery to life, if you understand that, you know that everything I just said there can be crossed out and labeled as hogwash. All this balancing society to make it easier for the average person. Forget about it. Because we made you. We made you not to come here and experience utopia. Oh, you silly fool. It was never meant to be that way. And evil and greed. There's always going to be somebody. It could be you or me. It could get me. I could be the best person I could be my entire life. You get a sniff into that world, bro, of greed and money and bitches and fucking drugs and fast cars. Dude, it can get anybody, man. You never know what's going to happen until the gun's pointed at your head. You just don't know if you'll go down that road or not. But again, with that concept, there's always somebody next that's willing to be that cuck, that's willing to be that shit, that shill. Think of all the failed businessmen and failed entrepreneurs that end up just having average lives. But in the back of their head, you know what they wanted. They wanted that millions and billions of dollars. They wanted to be up there. They wanted to achieve something like that. You know they wanted it, and you know they would have sold out. You know they would have cucked. You know that they were willing to do whatever it took to get to the top and have those massive amounts of money and that full greed, just basking in your own greed and power. You know that a lot of those people, they weren't in business for goodwill. They were putting their name in their hat to go for that shit. It's kind of like the lottery. Everything in life is a lottery. You're putting your name on your hat and seeing if you get chosen. But utopia isn't possible because of the evil spirits in this world. And this world was created to experience parity. That you'll experience love and hate. That you'll experience beauty and pure disgust. That you'll experience blissful moments and you'll experience moments that you feel like you're dying. You'll have moments that make you smile. You'll have moments that make you so mad. We're here to experience the yin and the yang and the two sides and the black and the white. We're here to bask in that. We are here in a realm and metaphysically juxtaposed on our realm a spiritual landscape that does, will, and can affects us. And what happens in this realm is directly impacted by the spiritual and metaphysical that is juxtaposed on us. And the energies that we can feel and even manipulate, some of us. But you are here to be put in this world that is built in this way that there's always going to be another greedy person hoarding the wealth or trying to get control of the masses. It will never be balanced out. It's too much set in stone. There's too many hands. There's too many greedy hands with their hands in the pot that aren't moving. And there's too many hands just trying to get in that pot, bro. So many hands just trying to get in that pot their whole entire lives. So what this world was created and the mystery of life and experience, it just ain't ever going to be a utopia. Utopia is a fantasy. In fact, we're leaning towards a dystopia. And I think this world is meant to spiritually teach us what it feels like to exist in a world where utopia is very simple and very possible and would just require some realigning of resources and ideas. And mainly, bro, it's what I just said. It wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't. You don't have to empty their bank accounts. You just need to take a good chunk. These people can stay dirty, filthy rich still. They can stay filthy rich. $100 million. But all the billions and access, no more. Dude, that's all we'd have to do. And then replace ending world hunger with technological advancement. Obviously, we would use technology, but all technological advancement no longer a profit thing. Anything that is outside of like a product or business world, anything like that, scientists, you have to be trying to end world hunger. You have to be doing things to help the food supply and fixing world hunger. It would take a year. They'd figure something out. They'd have new technology, new shit to grow food, all sorts of stuff. They're already doing it. But do they do it to help out Ethiopia and feed the people of Ethiopia? No, they do it so that some billionaire can increase his profit margin so that his money goes up and his stocks go up and his shareholders go up. But the person working on the ground level is still making $10 an hour minimum wage. But this world, this world wasn't made to be fair. So all that doesn't matter. And I used to be a riffer and a ranter about that kind of stuff. And how obsessed we are with smart technology and AI. And all the resources and heavy metals and money we funnel into those things. Just to get one little advancement and a new little app on your phone. Just to get a little bit better of a camera. Your little microchips. Your little micro dicks. You can just get a little bit better. And the amount of resources we put into just that new app could have taken a huge bite in helping people that are suffering in this world. Because it's still hell. Some places it's still backwoods, savage shit. Now, hey, again, that's life. There's always going to be backwards savages in the woods, butt fucking. There's always going to be countries that are like North Korea. And that they are totalitarian or authoritarian and dictatorships. You're always going to have these little things. Mainly greed in the form of money and power. Can get you anything else you want. You got money and power, you get whatever else you want. You get to a place of money and power, you get what you fucking want, dude. A lot of things that these people want are sick-minded people that end up getting greedy. Like Diddy. But again, that's just one scapegoat. That's just one person being tranced to chase that greed by the evil spiritual agents. The dark shadow government. Mind controlling our society. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tout and try to spread a message and spread awareness that all we'd have to do is hedge a little off the top of these people's portfolios and we could end world hunger. There's plenty of people out there saying that. You won't make a change. If you go out there saying that on the streets, people are just going to think you're annoying. You'd be like, oh, you climate change activist. or whatever, you know? There's always going to be one side of the people that alienate you, and that's the mass chaos. But if you go out there and you're just an agent of good and positivity and kicking it and having a good time, well, now you're pushing the heaven. Their game is the hell. And you're going to go through hell in this life. It's set up that you're going to experience some hell and some hard times and some hardships and some things to emotionally deal with. But the thing about this world is it always gives you the option to be in heaven instead of hell. So you can go around spreading your heaven. But if you go around spreading your negativity and your hell that you're experiencing and that you see in the world, that's negativity. That's dragging it down. That's what they want. Oh, we're going to do a top 10. Bryan, top 10 things. Now, I tried to do this before and it didn't come out the way I wanted. So let's see if we can execute on this. Alright, my top 10 things. So apparently it's like right here. But we're going to redo the list a little bit. So, alright, my number one thing, I'd say my daughter. This is like the GQ things Bryan can't live without. You know how they do it for the famous people and they're like, my Rolly, my Bentley, my Bulldog, my butcher and craft coffee maker. But no, I'm going to do my own top 10. I'm going to put my daughter at my favorite thing, number 1. Parenting has just given me the most positive energy in my life. So that is what I'm going to choose. And then what? When it comes down to it, I think number 2, I would say like music. Music and podcasts. Or audio media. I really think audio media is one of those things where if I'm going down the list of things I can't live without, those are my first 2. If I have my daughter and if I have my Bluetooth, like, I'm set, dude. I can get through anything. Number 3, though, I'd say, see, there's weed and kratom and pouches and coffee all separate. I'm just going to put substance use. I'd say that's like the 3rd most important thing. Some kind of substance abuse, or not abuse, use. Because my medicine, you can see on here, Seroquel is on there. My meds to help me sleep that I just took a little bit ago. Like 38 minutes ago when on the last break, I popped it. So you're starting to see the effects kick in. Can he hold it together? Or will he start forgetting things? But no, substance use, like responsible substance use. I'm talking coffee, caffeine, or kratom, caffeine, nicotine, nootropics, supplements, things like that. Like it's definitely a 3rd top thing. Like just some coffee. I really just would need some coffee. But we're just gonna put substances over the full thing. Cause I need. All I really need is coffee and Seroquel. But yeah, you can sub in other things. Substance use, man. I'm a big fan of pharmacology and how you can affect your level of consciousness in a positive, repeatable way that's safe. Alright, like food and water and shelter, we're just gonna assume those things. So I had this on there before. Let's not worry about food. Would I say podcasting? Yeah, honestly, things I can't live without. Podcasting is going to be high, man. If I can just podcast and create, I'm pretty happy. Like the best times in my life, I was humming, doing podcasting. I'd say, could we put the Cleveland Browns? Yeah, if I'm trapped on an island and I can just pick 10 things, the Cleveland Browns football games, being able to watch them and follow the Browns in the off season, listen to podcasts about the Browns, watch all the press conferences throughout the year when they're in the season, but also off season. Yeah, if I was on the island, that's a lot of entertainment. Yeah, having the audio media and the Browns and also watching them. Yeah, dude. I can get by. Dude, this is a good list. If I have these things, my daughter, I have a human that I get to raise and put all the positive parts into her. I'm just injecting my positivity and my good vibes into her personality. There's nothing better than that. You can't beat that, bro. These people that say it's weakness. That's one thing. And bad personality. If you want to show me that you might be weak or you might have a bad personality, if you want to get off on a bad note and leave a bad first impression of me, it's talking negative about parenting. I've been a solo parent. I've dealt with a lot. I haven't had anybody. Whenever I have my daughter, half the week, every other weekend, it's just me. I get help from family and I go visit a lot of family, but a lot of things I've had to encounter and deal with on my own without a partner in here to deal with it with me. And yeah, so far we're looking good, man. Music and podcasts and then making them myself. Dude, we're looking good here. All right, what else is on here? All right, since I had to compile some things, I'm running out on my list, my initial list. So I guess really the last thing on here that didn't get funneled into anything would be romantic ideation and sexual behavior. And it can just be the romantic. I really don't need the sexual behavior. Let's just put romantic ideation. Because I don't really need the sexual behavior to be happy one way or the other. If anything, having a lot of sex hasn't been healthy for me. But the romance side of things, I think that, yeah, my top 10 list of things that I can't live without. Like having some kind of, even if it's just a crush, a long distance crush. If I'm just sitting on my island looking at some girl's Facebook posts, like, I love this bitch. Yeah, I think that's really big for me. I enjoy a romantic shit. It's not like I don't enjoy trying to get to the destination. I don't care about that. I just care about creating romantic moments, not like the equation, like, oh, I did this and I was slick and I was cool and she thought I was hot and we ended up having sex. Like, it's kind of a cutoff. I just like the game itself. All right, now I gotta think here. All right, number 7. Think of things that if you're trapped on an island, what would you want? I'd say my sports memorabilia collection. So jerseys and sports cards and stuff. Can we expand that to my knickknacks? No. Sports memorabilia covers a lot. That's not fair. I guess just looking around, rocks. If I was on the island, I'd definitely be playing with hella rocks and collecting rocks and treating them like currency. I'd make my own currency on the island, rock dollars. I just like, dude, look, there's a crystal. I'm a crystal bitch, dude. See, I just got crystals. So this one. Oh, look at that. But no, there's rocks everywhere, dude. I got some rocks by my bed. There's a rock on the windowsill. More rocks. I collect them a lot and I put them all over for decorations. A lot of rocks, dude. All right. Oh, dude, video games. Yeah, if you're trapped on the island, that'd be sick to just play a bunch of video games, dude. Now we're talking my language. I feel like I need to research this, you know? I'm like researching myself. It's going to take 5 tries to get the Bryan's top 10 list. We'll have a revised edition. This is good, though. You're not beating this. And I have one more slot. What would I have on that island? Could we maybe say my spirituality? My magic. Yeah, dude. I can't live without. These are top 10 things I can't live without. My magic vibe. Yeah. Just going around being spiritual. I think that's super important. I guess it's supposed to be physical things like my car or my Beats by Dr. Dre headphones. Dude, I want a pair of Beats by Dr. Dre. Like the OG. Those are probably worth a lot of money on eBay, huh? Damn, son, where'd you find this? Damn, son, where'd you find this? No, I can do better. I don't want to have an aneurysm. Imagine if I was live right now on the internet trying to do, damn, son, how'd you find this? Just have a stroke. But if you've seen the video of him doing it, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, there's a very popular producer, music producer, rap producer, and all the producers have tags. And the one dude, it was like, "Damn, son, where'd you find this?" And it sounds like a deeper voice, but it's just some McLovin looking white dude just ripping it off when you actually look at the studio. He's like, "Damn, son." I'm trying too hard. "Damn, son, where'd you find this?" "Damn, son." Dude, it hurts. "Damn, son, where'd you find this?" "Damn, son." Oh, that hurt, bro. Oh, shit. Don't do that. That's hard. "Damn, son." I love that shit, dude. I like producer tags. If the Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you. Trying to think of some other ones. Oh, dude. Tay Keith, fuck these niggas up. They say my time is coming up till these bitches wish. Dude, they think my time's coming up. It's just started, dude. Sometimes on my podcasts, moving on from my top 10 list, sometimes I'll be like talking shit. And I've been doing research on my own stuff and realized that I can't talk shit. A lot of times, you guys, there's no person in particular I'm talking shit to other than the past version of myself. There's like not people that I dislike in my life, really. I guess people annoy me on the social media, kinda, which is normie shit, just being too normie, complaining about stupid things that would just go over my head and I wouldn't even care about. Seeing people getting dragged down, but also dragged up over things where I would keep it even. I wouldn't even bat an eye at shit. I don't know. I'm not trying to ride my high horse. You don't want to be that guy. But yeah, when you hear me talking shit, I'm not really thinking about people like ants or these other people compared to me. I'm really talking to myself. I'm talking shit to the past version of myself. Talking in reference towards me. I'm not just a dick and get pissed at everyone. It's really just a high level of critical self-analysis. And when you listen to someone else having a critical self analysis, it helps you do that yourself. I wonder how different we are from people 300 years ago on a cellular basis. Like your cells. Because the things we consume these days, with all the chemicals in it, it's literally different shit. We're eating different shit, prepared a different way. And yeah, some of it like cow and pig, we've always eaten, and fruit and vegetables. But just these additives and preservatives. I mean, when you look at what's going into our bodies, those chemicals. But we are living longer. So it can't be all bad. Like I was saying earlier, I do think with some of the chemical in our food and waters conspiracy is to eventually merge us with machines and make our bodies primed to combine with the machine. And how high up does that go? Like, are we talking like fake arms? Like Inspector Gadget? Probably not, bro. Starts with the Neuralink, and then it's going to look more like the Matrix, where your physical body is just in a pod being supported, and really, it's not real. Your physical body is just in this Matrix. Your consciousness is in the Matrix, but your physical body is actually just in a dream state, being kept alive with all these different chemicals and preservatives and shit. See what I'm saying? We have all these preservatives that we're becoming. Because the whole thing with keeping someone in a pod is that if you don't work out your body or move your body and nourish it, it decays without movement. So to keep your heart moving, you got to keep moving. But yeah, no, they're going to have us hooked up in the pods like the Matrix. Maybe we're already in those pods. Do we have free will or not? And I want to talk about the playground, man. The playground of life, our world around us. Whatever is in your visual field that you experience going to work, your social activities, whatever. That's your playground. And we have free will within that playground and what we're visually, physically viewing in our viewpoint at that point in time. We do have free will within that, but we gotta do what's in the playground. For the most part, we can't just run out of the park and do what we want, run into the road and go in people's yards. That's how you end up in the psych ward. You gotta follow the rules, the timing, the cadence of the playground. Wait your turn to get on the slide. Don't try to do a backflip off the swing. And you can only go down the slides that you see in this park. Not the one you see in someone's backyard. The monkey bars. Again, wait your turn. Can you do the monkey bar or can you not? The sand pit. The sand pit resembles the creativity sides of life. There's a lot to do in the park and the playground. But if you leave stray, it seems there's nothing to do anyways. Like you think of the outskirts of the park and those little corners of the park. Or maybe it's just a big field. Like there's not much to do with it anyways. It's really just the playground. Everything's just popping here in the playground. Within your park and within your reality, you have those little places and interesting things that you can go look at. That's what I'm getting at. All these interesting, unthought of, less traveled roads. But yeah, if you want to go to the outskirts of the playground where nobody goes, you kind of have to pave your own way to get there. And maybe the playground and accompanying park has a walk path to a wooded area. And the path into a denser forest. The change in light to a shaded area. it can give you that feeling or sense that one is on a path of exploration down that path into the woods. Which, anything that's brand new to our field of vision can be considered exploring. So yeah, those paths that they give you in the playground and in the park, it's a chance for you to explore and see something new. But I'm talking about getting off the path. The path that you think is enlightening you, and the path that makes you think that you're exploring and feel like you're exploring. You can tell my meds kicked in, by the way. And you can think of life like this park and a playground. Again, you gotta follow its rules. Stay within the park grounds. Really, even within the park, don't really go to the areas that very few people go anyways. Don't go off the path. Those thick weeds, nobody goes in the thick weeds. Nobody wants anything to do with that pricker bush. You see poison ivy, you don't want to go in there. You face hazards when you go places that you aren't necessarily supposed to go. You might get in trouble by the park ranger. People might alienate you and yell at you that you shouldn't go off the path. Hey, it's protected. You can't go there. In a lot of these places, you're even allowed to go. They're just weird nooks and corners of the park. It's not out of the boundaries. It's just those rough edges that nobody really hangs out at the park. But for some of us, perhaps the park will never feel complete in our minds if we don't explore those areas. And I'm not necessarily giving advice here. Pushing the boundaries of life is certainly not a game for everyone. However, for some of us, it's those rare, less traveled themes we always catch ourselves embarking on. Endeavors that the average person would ask twice, maybe 4 times. What the hell is going on right now? Some of you might know what I'm talking about. Some of you might not. But there's a lot of things I do or say even that the average person, like, what? That doesn't make sense. What? But once you break it down, it really do make sense. I'm just doing these things without thinking twice. Most people would rethink it 4 times over. But yeah, not just thoughts, but questions of this world. We got a full send from one wacky adventure to the next. Shoot first, ask questions later. Ask not what the world can do for you, but what you can do in the world. And those types of people that want to go out there and explore, or at least speaking for myself, those corner of the parks genuinely bother me. Like, really, when I go to a park and I see some weird pricker bushers, the places that people are never at, you don't see people hanging out there. I'm always compelled by that pricker bush leading to a quaint stream. I want to catch a crawdad or crayfish or whatever, mini lobster thing. It's those odd corners or off-put fields under power lines, abandoned buildings. Ooh-wee. It tickles a fancy of mine. And shout out to the little things in life, man. There's so much positive, chill data for us to consume. We get caught up in data consumption in all the wrong ways. We get sucked away from our own creativity. And we get sucked into problems. And we get sucked into the problems of society. Stuff that we don't even care about, but it forces us to care about it. We get sucked into our bullshit from the past. It doesn't take much to knock the average train off the track. And life is locked and loaded with disappointments and hardships. There's always going to be shit trying to bump your train off the tracks. So we got a lot of trains out there off their tracks, bumping around, taking other trains down with them. So some of these things like exploring the park, you're not even going to be concerned with checking out all the unexplored areas of the park, because you're going to be caught up in your own head, standing there at the park with the opportunity to flow and grow and experience new areas. But when it comes to people, we're constantly transferring our energy from one person to the other. And people are constantly transferring their energy back to you. So it can be hard to want to explore and expand our knowledge of the playground and the park when we worry so much about our own circumstances or the world's circumstances. But you're still in the park. There's shit to do. We can always spin it positive. There's always some fun shit in the park that we can make it right. But you can just get stuck and just be anxiously swinging on the swing. You're just anxiously swinging it away. The park is really just around you, and you're up in your feelings. And you as a person feel smaller and smaller. The world feeling heavier and heavier. You got to get off that swing. Tell yourself that you'll solve your problems later. And go see what's behind that pricker bush. For you don't want to go the rest of your time round these parts without dipping into the unknown. At their end, the wise man knows that the unknown is a powerful, dope thing. Known unknowns. Unknown unknowns. You know, there's things that we do not know that we do not know. Unknown unknowns. What you gonna do about that? Do you want to be laying there at your end, wondering about what you don't even know about? When you have these opportunities to dip into the unknown, you gotta take them and run with them. What more to life is there really to uncovering things and finding new and refreshing things to enjoy? You don't have to be obsessed with constantly doing something new, but have a pretty thick, deep routine of activities that you gotta take a whole year to get to do everything you want, because there just isn't enough time. You gotta always kind of have something new in there, or something you don't do very often to look forward to. But yeah, a lot of this stuff, mental clarity, mind awakening, it lies at the habits of your fingers and hands. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you right now to go grab a pen and a paper, or at least your Google Keep notepad or your Apple notepad on your phone. And you need to start allocating time to writing. Anything. Thoughts, behaviors, moods, other people, yourself, what you think about the world. Start writing it down. Whatever funny shit that pops into your head. You're your own playground. You are a playground in your own respects for other people to enjoy and to play on the different things of your playground. So learn it, man. You should know yourself. And the more that we scroll and suck in loads of information on social media without evaluating what's going on in your head, the muddier your waters will get. The scrolling on social media is holding back so much. I bet you for most people, you could say, hey, name one thing from your social media feed from yesterday that was enlightening and new, fresh, unique, that made you think in a different, new way and expand your mind. Just keep it simple. Yeah. Have them try to recall one single moment that they felt like their mind was expanding from yesterday scrolling on social media. People might have 3 hours. This person has 3 hours worth of scrolling on the various apps. You can ask them, recall something from yesterday. For your 3 hours, recall something enlightening and new and fresh, and that made you feel like you were exploring. You won't remember it. And maybe you did see some interesting things that you've never seen before. Places you can travel, food you can eat, people doing funny, strange activities. Maybe you did see some stuff that was technically enlightening. But because that behavior is involved in soaking in too much information, and it might be at your fingertips, but is it really you experiencing that stuff or just visually taking it in? You're just visually taking in. If you sat there and watched a nature walk for an entire hour of one of the most scenic places in the entire world, green, lush hills and beautiful meadows and trees, all sorts of deep green colors and flowers, the prettiest view and walk you can imagine. You could sit there and watch that for an entire hour on your phone, or you could go out for a 10-minute walk in the closest nature to you, and that 10 minutes will be so much more wholesome and powerful than the hour. So you might get your little nut off, your little brain nut off, and distract you, and it might have enough things that are interesting to keep your attention and keep you scrolling, but you're not actually soaking in any of that. You're not really evaluating what you're seeing. Maybe with the like and dislike and comments a little bit, but you're just throwing yourself into a pit and you're just taking on this bombardment of information. So yeah, while things can be new and fresh on your feed, it'd be better for you and more holistic and enlightening and illuminating for your soul to do something in the real physical world. So yeah, when you have a magical opportunity and you have a lot of bases covered in your life to be a king of Babylon, don't let social media drag you down and force you to compare yourself to others and play that game. We all have certain things at our fingertips, and some people just have it bad and have a really bad hand that they were dealt with. But there's a lot of people unnecessary suffering, and that's what I'm trying to reach with this. That to think of your life like the playground, and like the slide as you gotta go to work. You go on the swings for fun. That's like video games. You think of your world like that playground that's meant to be explored and played. It's not a fulfilling activity necessarily. It involves some creativity to make it fun. Playground's just kind of a playground, right? Stuff to jump and run on and go down the slide. But you make it fun with your imagination. And our imagination is being crushed by the social media, by this idea of consuming way too much. And what's on my algorithm today? What's the algorithm cooking up today? It's just scroll, scroll, scroll. And an hour later, you couldn't even tell me what you were scrolling on. And if you're out there just doing the same repeated action on the playground, you're going to be missing out on stuff. So the real FOMO is out there in the real world. The real fear of missing out should be just what's around you, not what's on there. Alright, what else we got here? Every 4 years you get a choice between two oligarchs. So I wanted to talk about the U.S. politics, United States politics, and voting. How voted gets branded as this high level thing that represents freedom. Every 4 years you get choice between two oligarchs, two career politicians who have shilled out and executed the valves of their respective party, whatever theme they have represented for their respective parties' goals. They've represented a party, one party or the other, Republican or Democrat, right or left. They've shilled and executed for those parties. The career politicians whose lives from private school to high school to college, think Harvard, their affiliations, connections, paths to success. A path to success in politics being the spotlight of American politics and media. You know, this is a plan. A lot of these people, if you really look at their lives, every single little inch to put them where they are today in a positions of power in the government. Some people in the conspiracy community do point out that their lives are scripted and it's all a play, a movie. These people are trained by the CIA or some MK Ultra level stuff we're talking. But no matter who you are, to some degree, no matter how extreme you are with things, every person understands the concept of selling out or shilling. Following a certain path, wearing a certain hat, dressing a certain way, having all the proper resources and most important connections, who you know, performing, showing some degree of a level of performance. And that's the thing. Performance is exactly that, right? Acting. These people that you're voting between, only two people, and they're really just actors. They've been executing a script their whole life, and they played that certain act. They performed a certain act to get to where they want. And if you apply that to your own life, like acting, we're always acting. Think of a job interview. You're playing a character. Now that character is true and it's you, and you try to show the best of your character in a job interview, but it's a performance. You're showing up to perform. These are performance artists in politics. And if you break it down, anything and everything can be interpreted as performance and how well you do at things. See Ricky Bobby. Wake up every day and piss excellence. I piss some hydrochloride nootropic chem water. Every pee is dirty with the THC. For real though, think of this on a grander scale with politicians. Like every little thing you do can be interpreted as a performance in some way. You do things, you can do them well, you can do them half-assed. You can act a certain way with it. You can perform it in a different way. You put that on a grander scale with the politicians. In everything they do, their performance matters. They have to play a certain character to play the game. In U.S. politics, we have either Democrat characters or Republican characters. Left or right, blue or red. You know, we're here to talk about your rights right now. And all our lives we're told the right to vote matters. And it makes us some amazing free land of the people. And most people don't do the local elections. It pyramids straight up to the top. The only relevance with the term voting really is the two-headed race for president every 4 years. It only happens once every 4 years, and you only have a choice between two people. That's not some amazing, enlightening freedom concept. We have some enlightening freedom concepts in American culture. But we also have some dumb stuff like this where you attach the word freedom to something and it really isn't so free. And I've gotten into how they can make voting easily accessible with our phones. They could literally send every issue every day to every person. Like they showed what was possible with that emergency alert back in winter 2023 when everybody got that alert. But they do that with the Amber Alerts. Dude, they could just send the thing to your phone to vote. It could be a land of the people so easily. You just get a ding message on your phone, and it wouldn't let you answer at first. You'd have to take some time to think it through, and then decide after a few hours. And everybody could have their word heard. But still, it would just be voting between one thing or the other. We couldn't make systematic changes. But yeah, most of the stuff's for the nerds anyways. I barely follow any news. I don't know, news is... I wish I could follow the news. It's fun. When I'm older and retired, if I'm not making podcasts, I'm definitely going to be listening to a bunch of stuff and following the news. Just an old man like, look at how bad it's getting these days. I'm going to be an old Fox News boomer. But no, seriously, if I was retired, or if I have more time to watch the news, I will. When I have more time and actually have internet and TV, I'll watch a little bit of news every once in a blue moon. I like to look at news articles. But yeah, I barely followed any news over the last year. I don't do much scrolling on social media. I know we got conflicts going on, but really, is that anything new? I feel like I already knew the news before it was new. Nostradamus. Newstradamus. Not that I can predict stuff, but I can see through grabbles and make a quick guess on what's really going on with things. And then evidence for that will come out later. And especially when I was a truther, conspiracy content creator, I would say stuff in the moment as it was happening and then see the other conspiracy truther people coming to the same result that I already came to and saying the same exact stuff that I was saying. They literally saw it the same exact way. Like a mass consciousness opening up and becoming aware of spiritual information. The gut feeling and intuition instincts. But yeah, man, with the politicians, you gotta remember, it's just two guys. And every 4 years, that's it. I mean, people get that, though. I know I went drawn out on this, but it's an understood thing. That voting for the president really doesn't resemble and represent our freedom. That it lies in other things. That's pretty obvious. But you know how it goes with people showing up to vote and all hyped up about it. It is a thing. But they're performance artists. They've performed at something. Alright, that's all I have for this show. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, keep it fucking real. Peace.